Welcome to Scale Models. I'm Jason, your host, and I do models and Nintendo Switches. What's up with that? This is, I believe, part 3 of my number 1006. We got the USB port on and tested. Now I just need to clean up these 3 MOSFETs and hook a battery and power supply up to it. Let's take a look at what we have here. We had a little bit of corrosion around these, so what I want to do is I'm just going to heat up the area a little bit to activate that flux. Just want to heat that area up a little bit, and then I'm going to clean it. And I think we're going to be good to go. So heat that up a little bit, and I'm going to clean it here. Clean it real good like this. Get that corrosion off of there. Alright, that looks good. Yeah, that looks much better. Alright, so I'm going to come in here with my clean room wipe and my brush with a little isopropyl alcohol. Actually, this is a Chemtech wipe. I'm actually running low on these. I only have like 6 boxes left. Alright, so let's get out of this view here. And let's push the scope back. And let's get us a test battery out. Alright, we got our test battery. Let's zoom in here. Alright, so let's take it out of there. I got my power supply here. This is a OEM charger. I'm going to hook up my battery, and I'm going to hook up this charger, and it turns on, and we get 200 milliamps, 300 milliamps, and it shuts off and resets, and we get 400 milliamps. So it is, let's see if I can get that to show up. There we go. So it's slow charging. It's not kicked on to fast charging yet. Maybe an auto RMC. It's charging at 15 volts. Let's flip it over and see if it charges on this side. It appears to be charging on that side. So appears to be charging on both sides. Let's hook it up into the housing and see what it does in its home. In my labeled bins, that's how I work. Everything is labeled and organized. Subscribing to the channel does save a label. It does save a label's life, and labels lives matter, man. I mean, I'm serious. This is serious business. The way that labels get murdered on this channel for lack of subscription. So let's see here. Let's get this in here. Okay, so I have a little bit of corrosion on the FPC, or the ribbon cable there. Let me just check and see if you can see it under the scope here. Let me just show this under the scope so you can see it. If I can get the scope on there. So let's look under the scope here. And there you go. You see a little bit of corrosion on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Q-tip here, and I'm going to clean this off here. Alright, so let's check the back of it. Looks good. So check the touch connector. We'll check this ribbon down here. Backlight looks good. Yeah, all the other ribbons look good. So power looks good. Okay, so let's take a look at the ribbon, the LCD connector in here. And there's a little bit of gunk in there and one raised pin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my bristly brushes here, and I'm just going to gently clean in there a little bit. Gently, really gently, because I don't want to have to change an LCD connector. Alright. Let's add some air to that. Alright, so we got that. Let's take it off of that, and let's put this in to the case here. So, let's stick in the ribbon connector first. Alright, so alright, that's in, that's up. Let's get some of these ribbons out of the way here. And let's get the power. And I like to put a screw in it. I believe Phillips is blue. I like to put a screw in here just to hold that down. And let's hook up our power button. And let's hook up our backlight. It's weird, I bought Hakko tweezers, and I go back to my Tamiya tweezers. Alright. Now, that's plugged in. Let's hook up the battery. Battery has been hooked up. Now let's take our charger and plug our charger in. Do we get a charging symbol? Yes, we do. We have a charging symbol. It's charging at slow charging at 175 milliamps. Let's see if the battery is beyond dead. So let's just give it a minute. I might have to cut and come back. But this appears to be working. It's got LCD display. It is slow charging the battery. The battery is dead as dead can be. So appears that this water damage switch wasn't as bad as anticipated. It seems to be working. I will cut here, charge this up, and come back with it working, hopefully. And if it doesn't, we'll diagnose some more stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back to finish this video in a bit. Okay, here we go. So it's charging at 604 milliamps. If I press the power button, it's got the charge light. If I press on the power button, I'm having issues with. I'm going to look at that. If I re-plug it in, it should turn on here. Alright, it did a minute ago. It must still be pretty dead. So it loaded a second ago. I got a picture of it, and it's still wanting to charge. So it's charging at 600 milliamps. Nothing seems to be getting too hot. The power button is plugged in. There it goes. See, there we go. We got power. So I am going to assemble this the rest of the way, and we are going to give it a full test. But before I do that, we need to take a look at the game card reader. So I am going to let that charge off camera up there, and we're going to take a look at this game card reader, because that had a little bit of damage on it also. So we're going to take a look. See, it has a little bit of corrosion on it, and down here by the pins. We will look at that under the scope here. So It's not too bad. It's not as bad as I thought. A little bit down there. Like I said, up here there's some damage, and I can't really tell if there's anything in there, but I think I can get my little brush in there and not damage anything and just clean that up. The FPC connector looks good. The digitizer connector, let's see here, the digitizer connector looks fine. I don't know. Yeah, it might be okay. I see a couple pins that are pushed up high, but it may be okay. I might have to change it. I'm not sure. I have another game card reader if this one is unusable. Let's just check for any other corrosion on it here. So no, let's just clean this up here. So I'm going to take my little brush here and I'm going to dip in some alcohol. Clean that off. Clean that off in there. I'm going to clean these little pins down here. There's definitely something on there that's not coming off. Trying to get as much as this damage off. I got the damage off the board so it doesn't look like it's been water damaged. The headphone jack looks good, so we'll get this together and test it. So let me get this blown out here. Okay, so still charging, so let's get the cover for the dish screen here. And let's get the rest of this together. So I'm going to unplug this. And we're going to pop this battery out here. So we'll take the battery out, and then we will get some of these screws in here, the motherboard screws. Okay, now we got to get some of this stuff hooked up here. So we need to get this ribbon connector hooked up. It feels a little dirty, so that may have to be cleaned. May have gotten some flux in it. I may ultrasonic clean this board if everything works out. I'm using a new cleaner in my ultrasonic cleaner. I'm not using alcohol anymore. A recommendation from someone that's very helpful to the channel. You know who you are. Thank you for the recommendation. And I'll be using PCB Safety Wash in the future. So I'm not a fan of these. Not a fan of a lot of connectors on the Switch, but you know, you have to do what you have to do. There we go. So that's connected. That's connected. Let's get the fan in. And the speakers here. So we will get these speakers in. speaker there. That speaker there. We'll put our fan in here. Okay, let's get our fan screws in. We need to connect up these speakers. I'm gonna start teaching my son to do this. Alright, so now we need to hook up this digitizer, so let's hope all goes well with that. I don't know if that's in there. Let me get the screw in there. And then I will check this connector here. There we go. That is much better. That is definitely in there now. Get this bracket out here. Get this back together. Now let me get this connector here. Oh, that's not on there. There we go. That is connected. That is a tricky connector, so be careful with it. You don't want to knock any pins. I'm going to get my MX4 out here. I'm going to put a little dollop on this here. The perfect amount of thermal paste. That was probably more than the perfect amount of thermal paste. So we got the MX4. It was probably way too much thermal paste. So we're going to get our heat sink here. We're going to put that on there. And we're going to screw that down. So this one worked out. This one didn't need trace repair or anything. This one just needed a USB port and a little bit of corrosion cleaned up. Hopefully touch works. If not, I'll switch that touch module and then we will move on from there. I'll put some thermal paste on this back thing a little bit later. I just want to make sure it works with everything here. So, well, I guess I don't need to put that on. So I'm going to plug this back in and see if we have touch. So make sure everything still works. So it's turning on, 800 milliamps. I got touch. It's got some games on it. So it's got 3 users. So it seems to be working. It'll get a factory reset, and I'll put some thermal paste on it, and this one is good to be sold. So I will charge this up all the way, make sure everything is good to go, put some thermal paste on this back panel here, and this one is done. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed me fixing this. This is switch number 6. I just needed a USB port and a little bit of corrosion clean. Thank you guys so much. Here are the links to social media and the link to my Patreon page where I post Switch data. Thank you so much, and have a great day.